here we go. There's second gear. Third. She's a little skippy. All right. Woo. Welcome to the shop. I'm Jared, and this is Wrench Every Day. And today, we're not at the shop just yet. Well, we're at a shop, but not Site B. We're in a field, walking towards the muscle truck. We brought it out here a while ago as we were making room for the dyno install and some of the other tools and shop equipment that we were getting set up at the second shop here in Georgia. So I had to move our beloved muscle truck, as Tavarish so aptly named it and fell in love with, out to my friend's place for temporary storage, and I told him he can go ahead and stick it in the field, and that's exactly what he did. But I don't blame him. Free storage, it's got to come with something. So there it is, tucked back. Looks good even in the woods. This is our 1971 International Harvester Johnnie Reb. The Johnnie Reb is what makes it unique. There was only 463 of these trucks actually made in the Johnnie Reb configuration. Had the silver paint with orange. Also would have some stars on the hood striped down the side with the caricature of the Johnnie Reb cartoon on the back. I think it's a really cool piece of history. Not many around. Technically, Navistar, which now owns the International brand, doesn't recognize they ever built this truck. So it's hard to get exact production numbers. These trucks came with the International IHC engines, the SV designation. They had the 304 cubic inch, a 345 cubic inch, and then a 392 cubic inch. This originally had a 345, but it now has a 392. Let me open our hood here. As you can see, International has this beautiful red paint. When I put this engine in, I actually had a lot of stuff powder coated and painted to make it look great. Converted it to fuel injection. See, the battery's been hooked up, and also, unfortunately, the key, which wasn't very good to begin with, has gone missing. So before I can even try to start this thing, I've got a new key switch coming, which again, no love lost in here because that key switch didn't fit at all and just kind of flops around. You remember in the last video, me even just trying to start it, it didn't work too well. Now, key's a little tricky. I got to get a washer. So you gotta hold the back of the key cylinder. Key it on. So we'll get the key switch, we'll get a battery that's charged, and then see what it'll take to get this thing started back up. All right, of course, it's stuck way out, and then the far field. We'll get up there. We'll get there. And it's raining again. Why is it always raining? And wet. And hilly. And why are batteries heavy? Electrons, they're atoms. And energy, they shouldn't be that heavy. Alright, let's go. Let's go get that charged. We got the battery recharged. We topped it off with electrons, electricity. Still don't have the key switch. Truck is still way out in the woods. We'll get it started again soon. All right, positive goes back. There we go. Drop that down. There we go. Connector positive. Now normally you tighten these, but there we go. If you wiggle it just right, this old truck, it kind of actually just tightens itself. Ooh, sparks. Ooh. There we go. Now, key switch, and then we can see what else is wrong. Key switch has made it in. It is still kind of raining gross, actually, right down into my ear. The best kind of rain. So we're gonna get that thrown in, and then with our fresh electron refilled battery, we'll try to get it started so we can go do our drive and then get to work. So these are just held in with a little collar. You unthread that, and the problem that this thing wiggles so much is this collar actually doesn't pinch enough. So we got that loose. Now, unfortunately, this isn't like just a super simple connector. If you look, some of these are complete. The others are just a bunch of tiny little independent spades. So whenever you're changing one of these block cylinders, you actually just kind of want them side by side so you can very carefully transfer everything over. Okay, so figure out top to down. That's the way. So that will come loose. That will go in here. Now, one cool thing is if you need to add extra inputs or outputs, key switches, you have a few extra ports here. Now, let's see. There we go. And all right, so we've got that changed. Now we'll fish that back into its hole here and get it oriented correctly. There we go. Almost. And I'm gonna add the O-ring to give us a little more tension. Hopefully. That was the plan. All right, let me put this down 1 second. All right. New key switch in. It doesn't spin around with that little O-ring, but my computer here. Oh, that's a simple problem. A couple fuses got borrowed. Okay, we've got that sorted. Let's take it for its final drive set up like this, as well as, there we go. As well as, let's set some performance metrics, something we've not had a chance to do before. We got a new dragging unit that I picked up yesterday, so we're gonna be able to get some 0 to 60 times, I think 0 to 30. We could potentially even get half mile and 60 to 130 times, but I don't think I'm gonna do that in this truck. We'll talk a little bit about why once we get it out of this hole and going down the road. Now we want this to be kind of our muscle truck, our work truck, and there's a couple things that define a muscle truck. One, the ability to do fantastic burnouts. We can't do burnouts with this truck. We've tried, even wet, it fights substantially to do them. So we've got to fix that problem. Problem number two, it's got to be fast. I don't think it's a very fast truck. It's a fun driving truck, but it's not fast. Three, it should be able to handle quite well. Maybe when all of these parts were new, it had the ability to handle pretty well. But now that these parts are completely worn out and you're not able to get replacement parts anymore for them, it's not a handling car. I'll say this, when it comes to handling, there's common press adjectives. Agile, confidence-inspiring, precise. The precision of the truck's handling right now is kind of like a brain surgeon using a giant hatchet to operate. There's nothing precise about it. Vague, somewhat terrifying, unpredictable. Those are the correct terms. And the good news is, we have a plan to fix it. When it comes to the work truck, things you want. You want space in the interior. this isn't the most spacious truck. You know, I'm cramped a little bit. You know, my headrest is the back of the truck. You would like it to be quiet. It's not quiet in here. You'd like a radio. I have a hole where a radio could be. You'd like air conditioning. It was an option on these trucks. I don't have it. You'd like power steering. I don't have that either. But none of that matters when you're driving this truck. There's just something fantastic about old steel. And when Freddie and I did the garage tour at Site B, he fell in love with the truck. I was considering selling it, and kind of seeing him fall back in love with it reminded me why I kind of really wanted it, and kind of fell in love with it and had to get it. Getting ready to go into this corner. Come up here and turn around. Let's do some performance tests. Recording, and here we go. There's second gear. Third. She's a little stiffy. All right. Woo. Slow down for this corner here. Stop the draggy. Wow. All right. So our goal is to beat 20 seconds. And we managed 18.6 in the quarter. 12 seconds, 0 to 60 time. That's something. Not sure we can call it a muscle truck. That's awesome. Oh man, the 8th mile time is 11.9. So we haven't even hit 60 miles an hour by the time we're tripping the 8th mile. I will say this, what we have planned for the truck, the donor parts, everything we've been working on and scheming and hinting to, I think wave 1 is going to be a big improvement. Wave 2, which comes later on, is going to be a massive improvement.
Hey guys, it's Dwayne, your Wrench Everyday video editor. I need to jump right in here because, well, since Jared is a better automotive mechanic than he is a automotive journalist, he forgot at this point to explain to you why he's suddenly driving a 2016 Nissan Titan. And since he didn't tell you, I think it's important for me to. He's driving the Titan right now so he can compare a modern work truck like the Titan with a 1970s work truck like the Johnnie Reb. Now you know.
Now the features you're going to usually be looking for in a work truck, which we're in right now. This is my 2016 Nissan Titan XD with the 5-liter Cummins. Has a little over 550 foot-pounds of torque. I've driven 70,000 miles. You've seen it do a lot of things in the videos between towing, hold a 44-foot gooseneck. But what you're really looking for are all the things that we don't have in the Johnnie Reb muscle truck. We've got cup holders. I think there's like 16 in the truck. We've got air conditioning. We have a radio. Everything you could possibly just desire in a everyday work truck. You got room, navigation, just great things. The new truck has a rack and pinion steering system compared to the old drag link setup that the Johnnie Reb has. Also, the joints are tight and not completely worn out like the Johnnie Reb. So when I set it into a corner, it actually is surprisingly agile and can handle it, and it's fun to drive kind of quick through some turns. It's, again, not the fastest thing. She is a bit of a porker, but really the point of this truck and this test is not how much better a 2016 truck is compared to a 1971 truck, is we actually want to set kind of a performance metric. So a modern working truck with pretty substantial towing capacity. What does a 50-year-old newer truck compare? Because in its day, the Johnnie Reb was essentially what this truck is intended to be. We've got our draggy set up again to be able to do that stretch and test. Alright, I think we've got it set up. We're coming up on the torque converter, and we're off. There we go. I see numbers popping up. I think it's working. And quarter mile. I think, let me stop this video. There we go. So, according to the draggy, 0 to 30 miles an hour, 3.08 seconds. We did our 0 to 60, 8 seconds, and 10-second eighth mile, and a 16-second quarter mile. I actually think this truck has better in it, but I think quite clearly a brand new, well, not brand new, but a 2016 work truck is indeed a little bit better as far as performance, comfort than a 1971. But as much as I like my Titan, you can't beat the looks of the old International. It just looks great. You can't go wrong with old, massive steel. And what we've got planned for it is going to be something quite special. It's going to be a car that'll handle, have the power. We want to set it up to legitimately tow our vehicles around and be the wrench everyday work truck. That is the goal for the vehicles. But I think what we're waiting for is to get wrenching and less talking, which I'm pretty excited about. Well, we get everything taken down and the skies open back up. We had a little bit of rain, cleared up, and the rain's come back again. So let's go out in the nice wet. Come back up. That's a pretty truck. That's a pretty truck. There's lots of really cool stuff around here. Of course, we've got the Johnnie Reb, our wrench everyday muscle truck. So it's pouring rain. I'm gonna head inside. I'm Jared. Thanks for watching Wrench Every Day. Remind you to always make questionable choices, and don't forget an umbrella, because you never know when it's gonna rain. Unless you're Tavarish, he likes to get wet.